Welcome everyone to another quick first initial look at another amazing microkernel system, aka Minix3. Usually when I talk about microkernels, people always ask, but have you tried Minix? Or do you know it? Or what is your opinion? Yes, I've tried it already a very long time ago, like a decade ago. I even have a book, some Minix book, not sure if it's Minix3, in the office library, but obviously I'm not in the office library. Minix3 is a website, 404 page not found. Yeah, that is a little bit the recurring theme here. They can't even do a website, not, home, that gives you, no, it works, fun fact. How often, right, front page, I probably clicked here and that works. Anyway, amazing homepage and a similar operating system state. Because when you look at this, I'm a little bit wondering that this new stuff is already so old, right? 2006. This is somehow the recurring theme here that I have with Linux that was already 2 decades ago, 1 decade ago. It was always like 10 years, you heard nothing. And then there was like, hey, now we have Minix3. Okay. They even got here some millions of funding. And I have to say, for the millions of funding that they got there for this, I have the impression the outcome is not maybe the most amazing. Maybe that happens often in academia, I don't know. Because again, since 2016, not too so many news. And this is also a little bit showing. So if you, for such a long-running academic operating system thing, if you run this, and of course I have prepared this, although I could have probably maybe prepared more, but yeah, where is my terminal? Too many terminals. Probably need to, what the heck, where is my many terminals? It's not, certainly not this one. Anyway, then let's, don't tell me I closed this. Only live on YouTube. Do we have this in the history? Oh, come on. Yeah, okay. While I try to find live here my amazing terminal that wherever where would it be? Oh, wait a second. Here's some. It has changed apparently. The bloody Rust OS has changed the terminal title there. Then it's no wonder if it's no longer labeled URXVT. Anyway, the fun stuff of terminal escape stuff that changes your window title. Anyway, so Minix. Let's run here with 512 megabyte SMP2, enable KVM, CD-ROM, Minix, release 3.3.0 there. And there we have it. On the first glance here, of course, it looks slightly more polished than Redux OS there of Rust fame. Now it boots already, while I still was trying to reach the zoom to fit thing. So, of course, it is a little bit more full-featured than Redux OS, but of course it is also decades longer in development, no surprise there. And of course for this, by the way, was it root? Oh, okay, root and nothing. And of course you find yourself more familiar than in Redux OS because it is simply more full-featured, right? You even have an SVD and NetBSD kind of package source tree here. By the way, let's quick look. Fun fact, once upon a time this was the SED by Eric S. Raymond and I maintain, but probably they changed it back to something. Anyway, so do they have dmask? They don't have that. But otherwise, of course, the usual Unix commands apply here. And even some procfs and fun stuff like this. Obviously, also formatting is, you can't expect this proc CPU info to come out exactly formatted as on Linux, but actually I'm surprised they have CPU info, but whatever. On the other side, was here also no GCC, so let's see, can we, so it has some setup program that we could run, try to run a setup program maybe another day. If we take a look on the services, that is what we are mostly here for. Certainly you don't want to watch me here installing a microkernel operating system. Similar to what you have seen in Redux OS, that you have your services. Services PCI and PC keyboard, floppy, and procfs, so even random and so on. So just exactly as promised, this microkernel, multi-server microkernel system is running all those services as different processes, and if your dev random crashes because you have an AMD CPU with faulty microcode or something, then yeah, it's only that one thing that maybe even restarts. So what they even promote here is self-healing. That is a little bit, I mean, I find it a little bit funny because the history, yeah, of course, speaking about history, of course, Minix from Andrew S. Tenenbaum, exactly one kind of thing in the 80s already that even got Linux started, because Minix was not as freely available as source code for everyone to hack on. It was maybe even to pay, probably. And if it would have been more freely available in 1990 and 1989 or something, 1988 or something of that sort, it might have been in a parallel universe that Minix would today, but what Linux is today. One of those probably historic mistakes, I guess. And yeah, there you see also the difference of licensing. If something is not available, you charge too much money, and all this kind of ecosystem stuff. Maybe the whole world would be running Minix, and certainly it would have been a million times more developed after 30 years of such development, instead of just there couple of people there in the research department. Just another what could have been if there would not have been Windows and Linux. And yeah, that is certainly here the history. And again, they self-value, they have healing. Yeah, what I find a little bit funny, so they advertise this here as achieving high reliability through fault tolerance and self-healing techniques. In my opinion, the self-healing, what they mean is that if a service crashes, like your network service, file service, and anything of that sort, then it restarts the service, right? Imagine you get some attacker, so there is some security issue, like some off by one or whatever corruption, and a security, either researcher, script kiddie, or evil hacker sends you some malicious packet that crashes your network stack or whatever, or just your network driver. Then in theory, because this crashes and a service like systemd or something similar like that would restart this driver. Like it would see, okay, your IPv4 server or E1000 server crashes, so let's just restart it, right? And they call this here like, yeah, fault tolerant. Yeah, obviously if it crashes and restarts, yeah, it's fault tolerant. The issue is, of course, if the same magic packet, like maliciously crafted, comes directly again and crashes your server again, certainly it restarts. It crashes and restarts on with the timing of those packets. So how much is this really worse in praxis? I have my doubts. Also, it's, in my opinion, it's not really self-healing. It's a little bit vaporware, maybe to get research funding. But in my opinion, because this is really static C code, right? So as I said, it will always crash again. So it's not like self-healing or self-improving. It will always crash again. Self-healing would, in my opinion, be more like if this stuff figures out like this crashes and then like modifies itself, like code morphing, like from Transmeters fame there. Just recycling some marketing terms there. Yeah, like code morphing, like self-learning, like artificial intelligence there. Maybe something for myself. Maybe I should collect some research funds, some 100 millions for self-healing artificial intelligence, microkernel and drivers. Just probably you run away with this idea now. But yeah, so much to the advertisements. And again, from the research, of course, you do not see that much. You can install a whole X server, at least I think I remember I could at some point. Maybe that's something for another video. From the first interaction here, as I said, which shell is this even? Let's see, SH version, what illegal? So maybe some BSD shell that can't do much, or command interpreter from set UID shell, what PS1, PS2, bugs history, command appeared in version, yeah, maybe the original, some original Unix shell then from netbsd, whatever, I guess on the first look. And if we take a look here, of course, this has a couple of more binaries than, well, a couple of more, not really. Let's see how many are looking around there. Okay, a couple of more. It has, of course, many more user space programs than Redux OS. They are of previous RISC fame, but make no mistake, it's not a Windows, right? It's not like you run it and it's like magic graphical whatsoever. I would, however, do they have something of not like this user? Do they have user like source? Where was this user source? No. Anyway, maybe just for the fun, I install this another day and see what kind of more stuff we can emerge here. I just wanted to give you a quick overview here, and even from this, well, unlike Redux, wait a second, how was it even? Redux. It has at least top, right? So Redux didn't even have top. Minix has at least top, and you're not doing much. It surprisingly consumes few CPU cycles for whatever reason whatsoever. And yeah, PSX, yeah, just, and I mean, you can of course find yourself your 4E in sequence. So for all of those who always see only Linux or whatever, it is all the Unix systems or Unix like, where is this here, at Ö, of course, done. Yeah, just a little bit loop here. You can also shell script just run. You configure make install or so. Somehow there is not a compiler there. Let's see, is it even, does it have this mounted? Apparently, maybe not. Does it have like proc mounts or something? Hey, it has, and it lists something. Yeah, maybe not sure how much of this kind of proc file system was there, or if they did this just for the Linux compatibility. As you see, quite some stuff is familiar, so you could theoretically like instantly take this and feel somewhat familiar and try to run this as a firewall. Maybe, I'm not sure, just speculating, right? I've not yet looked into how much firewalling infrastructure is there, but you could theoretically, if you wanted to give it a try as a web server or whatever you want to play around. And always, if you later in a week or year watch this video, always leave in the comments below what you think about this, what you experiment with. You can install a compiler via the package manager. Try using package in install. What package in install? It's doing something, can't open database. Yeah, probably I need to run setup and install it to the hard drive. And yeah, as I said X should be just coming out to the comments in the audience. This is why I like live streams. I don't need to edit them and I can respond to the comments. As I said, X server should be available, at least somewhat of some sort. Certainly not 3D accelerated, I guess, but maybe, but probably not. But nonetheless, just like they, if I write my microkernel, also fun fact, if I soon hopefully write more from microkernel, I would most likely do some 3D demos just to do some prototyping stuff of performance stuff, even with the Verge and Voodoo, and then old-fashioned RTE, Matrox and stuff, getting a little bit fancy with the time. And just, you have seen how slow this runs on the PowerVR of the Sony Vaio P the other day, and just to have some more data points and experiment around how to actually efficiently and reliably, like self-healing and fault-tolerant structure a 3D graphic subsystem. And this is, in my opinion, with this kind of systems that are much smaller, much easier than with the humongous amounts of code that are the Linux kernel. However, one thing I should note that it is old-fashioned C, right? I opened here some stuff. So this is Minix source code here on GitHub. And this is what I meant with Redux that I really like they do here. I find it quite reasonable to have on the top header of each file, one summary, one line summary. This file is doing that. Like this file contains a scheduling policy for sched, for the scheduler. And yeah, here's some defines, exactly those defines that I don't like. I would like make them in enum just for the debug symbol. Visibility, here's some defines because obviously then like in the Linux kernel, some ifdef config smp. Surprisingly that you can't compile and configure that. I would probably nowadays not clutter the code with this trivial stuff when we have many cores like 32 threads easily, certainly at least minimum of 8 or 16 or whatever that sort. So yeah, in my opinion, I would probably spend time better, certainly support uniprocessors, but not spend my time with ifdefs around the code. But yeah, it is for the most part mostly nicely readable C code, but my probably biggest criticism, except that they apparently only do something every 5 years or so, maybe funding and teaching, academic related, whatever. It is usable C code, but it is C code, right? So this is like vintage, like 33-decade old programming style, in my opinion. Maybe nowadays, at least maybe a little bit more syntactic sugar C++ code for a little bit of string handling guidance and other template generic kind of container list locking and such kind of stuff certainly would make this more maintainable, more flexible, less error prone, and yeah. And so this file looks quite good. However, I was just poking around there. Most of the files look like this. This is also, it's coming from academia, right? So this is for students and people at home to, like you, to play along at home and modify it and try it out. Fun stuff for that part. However, some files are not as amazing as this. And I looked here in like the USB. So USB, some files, not sure if this was macOS related, but some files are not even correctly indented. So they have some random white space damage, whatever is up with it. And yes, so what I wonder a little bit, they write here, they don't have USB somewhere there. They have written this, was it? I think it was Minix, I guess. But here is some USB. So not sure if this USB code, which is this one, USB storage, if this is DDE kit, interesting, initialize. This is somehow familiar from the first time I see that there. Let's quickly Google this. It was some device generic here. Where is this DDE kit Linux to some example application? Looks like maybe they use some device driver abstraction from L4 or something. Device driver environment, yeah, it's a glue layer between L4RE, yeah, so maybe not. Just wanted to point out, I mean, it's of course this, with all the many exploding amounts of device drivers, it is certainly fair that they reuse them. It makes sense, right? Because all the hobby, academic and other fun operating systems, they can't write all the 10,000 of drivers that are in Beastian Linux kernel. So yeah, fair enough. And so not really sure, maybe it's on the copyright there visible. Minix using, okay, fair enough, they even write their DDE kit. So they apparently have support for this device driver abstraction stuff here. Where was the name for DDE here? So device driver environment, obviously. Spawn a little bit environment, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, there you have it. A little bit first look. If you want me maybe another month again, we can't do everything. This is a little bit, yeah, just summary, like this is how it looks, this is how it's written, like this language and so on. And if you want more of this and maybe just for the fun, we will install this and package source install a compiler and Xorg and see what it's doing. Let's take a final look on the comments and then also move on in a minute with another operating system that so many people have been waiting for and might actually be the most amazing. Yeah, the zooming is also not amazing. Let's see. Install ceiling etc package insets, trying what package insets. Let's package. Yeah, probably it wants to be installed on the hard drive. Ceiling, it's there. Yeah, I've seen Clang ceiling. So Minix certainly much more self-hosting. Also, probably you can install something on Redux. They have also quite some stuff. But yeah, I've even forgot to put in a bunch of socks. I forgot to put in what do you mean with in installs. I even forgot to put in a bunch of socks. What you're meaning? At home, wearing. Anyway, welcome everyone. And Minix. I was messing around with the old version of Minix in my 286. Yeah, I've not done that. As the first time I used Minix probably on a Pentium in around 2000 or something, but at that time not the most impressed, and also somehow they didn't make so much more progress, right? I mean, they made, to be fair, they made much more progress than Herd, which somehow is also releasing something soon, aka in forever, but yeah. So yeah, so much to that, kudos to those folks there at Minix, but yeah, random indents had to use a mix of tabs and spaces. The tab key should be removed from keywords. Yeah, actually, I don't find the tab key too bad, but that's probably something for another video. But yeah, if you remove it, then you're fine with me, then remove it, whatever. Not missing it too much. Make video about Fuchsia. Yeah, that is coming next week or something. And should say 8 hectare space. Exactly every Intel computer from the past 2 decades runs Minix. Yeah, actually, fun fact from the audience, that is in the Intel management engine, the backdoor of your Intel backdoor management stuff on even each and everyone's PC. And I probably shouted that out in another IT news live stream from all our weekly IT news stuff. So previously they have run some real-time OS, and apparently for the latest, and they have also not used x86. So previously the Intel management engine apparently was running some ARCs or something, some really esoteric microcontroller, like, you know, for the background power management and wake up and stuff and backdooring. And then in the very latest Core i5, i7 and stuff from the last 5 years or something, since whatever that was, since Gen 4 or whatever, leave it in the comments if you find it, they have switched actually to a low power x86 core apparently. So on top of your main cores you have an Quark, like Intel Quarks or what it's called, like this Intel 1000 or so. Very simple, inline, non-speculative and whatnot from this totally SOC super small embedded series, and then running Minix as some people, some researchers, security, and they have not even told the author, right? This is also yeah, BSD license. Although I'm not really sure if it's really according to the license. I think Intel should have published somewhere that this product includes this Minix stuff as licensed by this BSD or so license. But yeah, only security researchers. It was not publicly known, I think, until some really security researchers uncovered this just a year or so ago. And yeah, so Minix may be the most installed operating system all of the last 5 or so years. Intel management engine, so each and every PC, server board, laptop, desktop, you name it, running Minix. Fun times we live in. But yeah, if you want a microkernel, Unix is now most likely candidate. Makes it the most popular. Yeah, exactly. And Dave writes, if you want a desktop microkernel, Unix is the most likely candidate. You mean Minix, I guess. Although another day we probably need to evaluate how much microkernel Dragonfly exactly is the right hybrid kernel, whatever exactly this means. So that is that quick look and discussion. So I looked into this, I followed this a little bit for the last 20 years, but honestly, how much progress was there really in the last 20 years? Those maybe detailed in the audience if you tried this. What is your opinion? Leave it as usual in the comments below. Do you think the progress is amazing? Was there much? I'm not so sure. I have the feeling, but again, there you see, can you make a living of open source? I made this video there previously, 100 videos back or so, not really. And the same goes here for this professor, right? For Andreas Tinbaum. Even he cannot, like, but well, maybe this is research grants there, but even collecting millions of funding, this is the state. So yeah, can you finance even this? I'm surprised with the Intel deployments in each CPU and maybe not some other possibilities. There you see why writing a microkernel is only a 20% weekend kind of fun YouTube hobby, and why I now turn to YouTube to finance open source and research work, because you see even university professors have a challenge to finance their operating system baby. This, having said that, by the way, does it shut down like that, or H or 0 or... No, that works. System going down immediately. Yeah, thanks for watching. We have one more operating system to take a look at today. So I hope to see you soon. For that, we split the live stream here for having them archived individually, in the hope that this allows people to better find the content they're looking for. Type hold, yes, thank you. Also, yeah, somehow the latency, I think the latency I'm running with normal low latency here on YouTube. Maybe that's not the most amazing stuff. Anyway, one more live stream. See you in a minute. Otherwise, leave in the comments what you think about all this stuff. What have you used? What have you found? And stuff like that. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon for all the next videos and live streams to come.